Well, a very good afternoon. My name is David Morgan-Hewitt, and the reason I'm here is because I'm the current chairman of the Master Innholders. Now, my day job, when we had a day job, is to be the managing director of the Goring Hotel in the centre of London. And I notice one of my colleagues on the screen a moment ago. So that's my day job. But back in September, I was elected to be the chairman of the Master Innholders for 2 years. Some of you will know what the Master Innholders are, and many of you may not. But basically, it's been around for about 40 plus years, and it is supposed to be some of the best hoteliers in the country. And they have grouped together and they apply to become a member of the Master Innholders. And they come into it because they want to help improve the way in which our industry works, the way in which our industry works alongside our staff, our colleagues, and our suppliers, and also wants to make sure that we offer as much education and assistance as we possibly can to the future of our industry. And, you know, as I look around my screen, I'm looking at the future of our industry. So this is exactly what we're all about. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here to say hello to you all and to welcome you to the first, this is the very first of our new educational stream, which is MIDAS. We already offer scholarships that some of you may know about and a scheme called MyALD, but this one is a new scheme which we hope will be very useful now when we are in the midst of this wretched pandemic and all that it's meant to us in our industry, because I think we're all agreed that there are a couple of industries who've been particularly hard hit: the performing arts, travel, airlines, and of course our hospitality has been incredibly hard hit. We're allowed to open, then we have to close again, then we have to open. There are lots of restrictions on what we can do. And all that change has been, I think, very difficult for all of us. Doesn't matter whether you're running a business or whether you're running a bar or you're running up and down the stairs as one of the servers. It doesn't matter who you are in a business. This has been very, very difficult for all of us. And it's actually given us challenges we never, ever thought we would have. I mean, I've been at the Goring for 30 years back in December, and I never have had anything like this before, and I never would have dreamed we'd be in a situation like this. So it has hit us all. It has made us feel up and down at various times, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it has been really difficult. But what we want to do with MIDAS is we want to provide some opportunities for you, whether you're still in work, probably on furlough at the moment, or whether for the moment you have lost your job, but want to stay in our fabulous industry and want to get another job in it when it all comes back. And it is going to come back. There's no doubt people want to get together. They want to have a good time. They want to meet up in pubs, restaurants, go and stay in hotels. They're desperate to come in. And we saw that in July when places were able to open, and they filled the ones outside of big cities anyway. And so it will come back. And those of you who at the moment may not be in a job, there will be a place for you, and we need you as well. So the whole idea of MIDAS, and I will hand over in a minute to Joanne, who's spearheading this Master Innholder project, is to provide some online opportunities for networking, talking to people, discussing things that we are all experiencing in different ways at the moment, and also to offer some learning. So I think on Friday we've got a session, which if you're not signed up for, please do sign up for it. It's on one of those subjects that we all think is really rather dull and boring, finance, but it isn't dull and boring. And it matters because you can't run a business or a part of a business without understanding the number. And also within our own lives, we've got to understand the numbers of our money. And for many of us, the money has gone down, and that may be proving challenging, but numbers are quite important. So that's this Friday. And if you haven't, I think it's this Friday, I hope I'm giving the right information. If you haven't signed up for it, think about it. But today, of course, is a little bit more about networking. So welcome to the very first MIDAS, which is here to help us move ourselves through these really challenging times, which will end. So thank you for joining us. And I'm going to hand over, I think at this point, to Joanne.
Thank you so much, David. I'm not really sure what else there is to say. You've covered everything very articulately, Squire. Thank you. But yeah, we're absolutely delighted that everybody can join us today. As David said, it is the first initiative for MIDAS. So maybe I should wind back a little and kind of explain how MIDAS came about. As David has said, the master in holders really, one of our raison d'etres is to raise the skills in the industry, to raise what the industry delivers, and really to make us all proud of hospitality. And in our normal kind of operation, we would provide scholarships for people who would apply to go to Cranfield or Cornell, or for the Master in Holders Aspiring Leaders Development Program. It's always a mouthful, it takes me a second. But we just couldn't do that this year. It just felt completely, out of kilter with everything else that was going on around us. But we also felt very, very passionately that we still wanted to do something. And I think there were a couple of moments that really got us thinking. For me, particularly, when the unemployment figures came out, and if you consider that hospitality employs 10% of, or has 10% of all jobs that are created, 30% of all jobs that were lost were in hospitality. And most of the reduction and the people that were made redundant, and I really do hate that word, but anyway, people who lost their jobs were a kind of supervisory through to HOD level. And so we had a number of discussions about how do we help and nurture and provide some kind of support, both emotionally, but also from a skills-based support to those people that, whilst we may not be able to employ all of you now, we certainly will want to again, and we want to make sure that we can help and support as much as we possibly can through this absolutely torrid time. And so the seed of MIDAS was born. And so MIDAS is set up so that we could deliver, and in our perfect world, we won't have a week of 4 days of activity. We will have more steady activity, but we were very keen to get this up and running quite quickly. And I have to say, the team have been phenomenal in doing so. So that kind of gives me a good segue into highlighting some of the team on the call. So first of all, none of this would happen if it wasn't for Dr. Hilary Cooke, who should be there and waving. Hilary, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, because there's about 4 screens of faces, and if anyone's trying to find you, they won't see you.
I'll just say hi then. Hi, everybody. I'm just going through the names, and it's just making my day to see so many names that I know and your lovely faces. So it's great to be back.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then very ably supported by Wallace Vincent, who's the Executive Secretary for the Master in Holders, and really makes everything happen.
Thank you, Joanne. Hi, everybody. Good to see so many people I do know, and lots of people I don't yet know quite so well. Looking forward to seeing lots of you as we go through this programme.
So when we started setting up the committee, we also had Tim Hassel, who is from Thorsten in Devon, but unfortunately couldn't join us today. And as we were setting up MIDAS, we really acknowledged that we wanted to be speaking probably to a lot of people that look a lot younger than us. And if we were going to be able to do that effectively, we needed some bright young things. And fortunately, we know a few. So with that in mind, Chris Todd, Chris is really making all of this happen.
Thank you. I don't know how to spotlight myself, actually. So, but I'm really excited to be involved, and yeah, I'm hoping that the content that we've been able to put together is, people enjoy it and take use from it.
Thanks, Chris. And then we have a couple of other master in holders in the virtual room, and I'll highlight them, because when we do get into breakouts in a bit, you will get to meet a few of them. I'm not sure that we possibly have as many for the numbers that are here. I have to say your attendance is greater than we had initially thought, so we're absolutely thrilled by that and hope that it continues to grow. But because he's on my current screen, I'm going to highlight Peter Walker first. Peter's up near Aberdeen, and the joy of virtual reality gives us the opportunity to speak to him without a flight and a train and a long journey. So, Peter.
Hi, good afternoon, Joanne. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm sitting up here in the frozen north of Aberdeenshire. To be able to have the opportunity to be involved. Obviously, with my geographical location, it can make things quite challenging to be as active as I would want to be a master inholder. So it's through the wonders of technology, I'm really excited and delighted to be able to be support to this. And yeah, it saves me having to take 3 days out of my life to come south for a meeting with planes, trains, and taxis and all that. So I'm delighted, Joanne, I really am. And, I do believe that we're custodians of this wonderful industry, and, we've got to make sure that we do whatever we can to future-proof it. And that's at all levels, whether it's, aspiring or people that are at a senior level that are happy at that level. Our industry needs enthusiastic foot soldiers as well as leaders. And yeah, if I can help one person in my career and inspire them, then I've left the industry better than I find it when I eventually leave. So delighted to be able to help.
Thank you so much, Peter. Let me just have a flick through my screen. Bear with me just a second so I get them in order. Adrian Ellis up in Manchester snuck in, but it would be remiss not to say hello.
Snuck in and listening very attentively to everything here. So yes, nice to join you. Joanne, thank you for the introduction. Yes, I'm in Manchester, not much better weather than it is in Aberdeen, I have to say, but that's part of the course in Manchester. But lovely to be part of this first session. See so many, I'm very impressed with the number of people on the call today. So thank you for inviting me, and look forward to joining in later. Thanks, Joanne.
Thanks, Adrian. Sorry, lost my screen. And sorry, bear with me just a second, just making sure I don't miss anybody. I think that's it. So I'm about to hand over to Dr. Hilary Cooke to give us a bit more detail, but I just wanted to carry on something that David said about finance. And there was a real reason why we chose Money Matters as the first topic, because really this crisis has come down to money. And you only have a business and you only have employees if you have the cash to be able to deal with them. And so we really, although it is a really dry and boring subject, it really is the crux of how successful your business can be. And if most GMs are honest with themselves and everybody else, we all learnt a lot more about finance once we had become GMs than we learnt on the way up. And I'd like to hope that you guys have a better start than some of us did. It took me a long time to understand that cash flow and the P&L are not necessarily the same thing. And the liquidity of your business is very different to the profitability of your business. And so we will talk about that on Friday. But we also felt it was really important to talk about personal finance, because the connection between personal finance and well-being and is just unbelievable. And so there is a session on managing your own finances, because it is really tight now, and I don't see that changing for a long time. So it was with absolute purpose that we chose possibly a dry subject, but absolutely a critical one. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm going to let David jump in and then hand over to Hilary.
Thank you, Joanne, for letting me jump in. Hopefully I'm unmuted. Can you actually hear me? Because I have been on a number of these meetings where I have contributed very little because I've left my mute button on. There are many who would say they were my best meetings, but anyway, I don't agree with them. I just wanted to say I've got to leave you in a moment, but I wanted to once again just thank you for coming. No question that you might have during this session is too stupid. I think that sometimes we have questions we want to ask the people around us, and we feel that we'll look silly if we ask it. That is not the case. We are here together for each other, and it's brilliant that so many of you are here. And I do hope that you'll come to many others of the program throughout the year and spread the word, spread the good word, and get others to come and join us, because no question is too daft. This is about us helping us, each other, the future of our fantastic industry. It is the most wonderful place to work. We get day by day, we have great colleagues we can work with, we can create great things, and we create memories and magic for our clients. And at the moment, a lot of us are really upset because we can't be doing that. And for the first time in our careers, we can't be doing that. But we're here together and we're going to help each other. And so I wish you all a very good session. And I will also pop in to Friday's session as well, so I can try and learn about the money, which will be a great help to me, I can assure you. So good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Chairman. See you later. So it's me now, I think. Yay. Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's great. I've been going through the list of names and looking at everybody who's here. And there are so many names that I know, and there are a few that I don't know. So it's important that you get the chance to talk to each other. So let me just talk you through a little bit of more about MIDAS. And if you want to munch on some invisible chips while we're talking, then please go ahead. Let me talk you through. Joanne's given you the background, and David's given you the background for the master and holders. Let me fill in the gaps a little bit with some of the detail. So name, first of all, where do we get the name MIDAS from? Well, if you know anything about Greek mythology at all, you'll know that King Midas was granted 3 wishes, and one of his wishes was that everything he touched would turn to gold. It actually didn't turn out so well for him at the end, but we quite like the idea of everything we touch turning to gold, because this is such a great industry for us. So we thought that, you know, making things into gold would be relevant. And then the MIDAS bit is master and holders, developing additional skills. So it took us a while to put the rest of the words in, but that's really what MIDAS is about, developing additional skills. And it's a good time to do that. Well, maybe many of you are on furlough, many of you are sadly maybe looking for the next job and just wanting something to do. I don't know about you, but I'm finding that a sense of achievement at the end of each day or at the end of each week is really important right now. So that's where MIDAS came from. The structure that we're putting together is to create a hub, is to create a go-to place for additional information. So hopefully that hub will last. So each month we're doing the same amount of content for now. Each month, Chris will work with anybody who's willing to work with him to make a video. So the first video we've made is, I'll talk about in a minute because that's on money matters, but Chris will be working hard each month to make a video and a podcast. So I'll move on to that in a minute. He'll tell you about those. So the video, there's a podcast. Every month, on the last Tuesday of every month, we'll have a networking nugget, which is this, which is a chance to network. So we may be talking about the topic, we may be the topic of the month, we may just want to network and find out stuff. So every month, on the last Tuesday of the month, this will be a networking nugget. And then on the last Friday of every month, Fabulous Friday, fabulous finish. Sadly not Fizzy Friday because we're not in those realms at the moment, but maybe we'll get back to them one day. Fabulous Friday will be a masterclass. So that's 4 things to look forward to each month: a video, a podcast, a networking event, and a masterclass. And each month we'll have a different theme. So this month, as Joanne was explaining, we've chosen money matters because it was the beginning of the year, because this is so important, and because we thought it was a good place to start in terms of a good understanding of the finances, either in the business or in your own bank account. Now, one thing I would say about the content is that because we're master and holders, our content may well be very hotel specific and hotel orientated. So if you're sitting here in some other sector of hospitality, please feel also welcome. Although we are coming from a hotelier background, we're also thinking about wider hospitality. So if you are in another hospitality operation, you're still welcome, but our content may be quite hotel specific or hotel orientated because that's who we are. So I'm going to talk more about the masterclass and this networking in a minute. Ewan and Chris, you and Thomas, I think you're there. I've seen your name. Do you want to just say hi?
Hi there, everyone.
Hi there. So Ewan and Chris have worked hard to create a podcast. So Chris, do you want to talk a bit about the podcast and where to find it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So
you can't spotlight yourself. Sorry.
Yeah, I figured it out now. I figured it out now. Yeah. So yeah, a big part of the puzzle really. We wanted to create content that was perhaps slightly different to what we would ordinarily put together, and a big part of that for us was doing something like podcasts and videos that are accessible whenever, rather than having to necessarily attend all the time. So Ewan was, I guess how it kind of happened, he actually called me to discuss doing a podcast that he was thinking about, and it just so happened that I was, sort of thinking the same thing for this. So it was a really nice sort of marriage in that respect. And yeah, we want to look at it from a slightly different perspective. So we're going to be together, we're going to be interviewing other people from in the industry, or people that can offer things to us. They might not necessarily work in the industry themselves, but it might still be really, really relevant. And we're going to basically interview them, but with an educational sort of slant. So understanding a bit around their background and their sort of stories, but then also diving into the subject. So really pleased this week, our first episode is with Rob Ledward-Smith, who did, I think you and you'll agree, did a fantastic interview with us a few weeks ago. Really great story, just his journey through Aspiring Leaders, through St. Julian's Scholarship, but then also diving into money as well. So his sort of perspective, how he, I think Joanne sort of alluded to earlier, how he's gone about sort of learning about the money and learning a lot more when he got to the, being a GM, but sort of his tips for picking up stuff along the way. So it's quite a soft approach to finance. We don't get into the detail. We're going to leave that to the experts on Friday. But yeah, it's going to be a very sort of relaxed approach to an educational resource that hopefully you still can learn from. Did you want me to touch on the video as well, Hilary?
Yeah, sure, go, keep going.
Yeah. So the video sort of, I guess, different in content. So we want, particularly with this this month, we wanted to do something very practical, something around personal finance that you could just immediately take away and sort of put into practice. So we've sort of partnered up with Hospitality Action, and I don't know if Mitch is on. I don't think I've seen Mitch.
I haven't seen him.
But I had a bit of a quick fire back and forth with Mitch around Hospitality Action's 7 sort of steps for staying financially fit. And Mitch provides some of his take from Hospitality Action side, and there's some other good resources in there, so budget planner and stuff like that. But again, that's going to sit within the hub, but it's accessible whenever and will continue to be accessible. You know, it's not just a time bound going to be available just now, it's going to be available going forward as well.
Great, thanks, Chris. So you're getting a bit of an idea that this is going to be something with you rather than for you. So your involvement, and that's why this is a network, and a community of learning is what we want to create here. So that's the video and the podcast. We'll put the links up. They're easy to find, and Chris will put the links up in a minute in the chat. The masterclass on Friday is at 2 o'clock, and that's being run by my absolute go-to person for finance, a lady called Deborah Adams. So if anyone's come through Aspiring Leaders program, you will remember Deborah and her workshops when she manages to unpack the most complicated things around finance and make them really quite simple. So Deborah's going to be talking to you. She's very involved with HOSPA, and she's also got her own company called Arena for Finance, and her background has been all the way through hotel training, but on the finance side. So she did the original Forte management training scheme years and years ago. Those of you with grey hairs will remember that. Those of you that haven't won't. So that's Deborah. She's very, very experienced in finance. So she'll run a fun session on the basics. We've asked her to do profit and loss account, understanding profit and loss, understanding cash flow. So even if you're not very financially orientated, please come, because that's why you should be there. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, profit and loss, that's a bit basic, don't come, because you probably don't need it. So that's a sort of you know, we want to provide you know, things that are educational and thought provoking. So that's Friday. The timings will always try and keep the same. They kind of depend on people's availability for the masterclass, but we'll always have it on that last Friday afternoon. That's our fabulous finish. So now to networking nuggets and this event that we want to run each week. Now, if we were live and not virtual, and this was real networking, which hopefully one day we'll still be able to do, we would have been at the front desk to meet you and point you in the right direction and meet you and greet you and make you feel welcome, and then you've got on with it. You'd have been networking. So that's what we want to create virtually. Given that there are 66 of you on this call at the moment, we're going to break you into breakout rooms soon and break you into smaller groups so as you can talk to each other. So networking is all about creating a community, which means a level of engagement and involvement from everyone involved. This is about contribution as well as content, so that we can do the content, but the networking and the community is really important. For any of you that have come through things like Aspiring Leaders or courses with me, Inspiring Leaders, Garrick and you guys out there, you'll know how important that community is. So it's important that we have a community. This is about contribution. I think it's also important, and I want to make this clear, is that this is being put together by volunteers. We're all volunteering to do this, and it's free. So you know yourself what happens in the staff canteen or your colleague cafe when it's free food and everyone complains, right? Just because it's free doesn't stop everyone complaining. So we want to really stress that if it's not giving you what you want or need, tell us and contribute. But we are, you know, volunteering on this. You guys, many of you are furloughed and many of you, our hotels are closed. For Chris and I, our hotel isn't closed. This is our business. So we're doing our business and we're doing this voluntarily. So we're not going to get it right each time. It's not going to be perfect. And we could have waited. If we're building up a hub of information, we could have waited until we had the content loaded and not run for another 6 months. And we talked about it, we thought, hell no, we need to go now, we want to go now. We've had immense interest about this, a lot of sign up. So we know the time's right, but it's a bit like an opening. We're not going to get it right 100%. So this is like soft launch. So join in join in and be part of it. So you've got the masterclass with Deborah in your sights for 2 o'clock on Friday, and the podcast and the video to look out for. Please let us know what you think. Give us some feedback on them. As I say, it's the first time we've done it. Next month we've chosen a topic of resilience, wellness, self-care. So we've got a very good speaker on the last Friday of February called Jules Murray, who runs a company called Spider on the Wall. And you might have seen that she's doing on CareerScope. I put a post on CareerScope this week that they're doing a webinar. Her and her partner doing a webinar. I think it's this week. I think it might be tomorrow, on acing the virtual interview. So that's worth looking out for. So Jules will be helping us with resilience. If you've got any thoughts on resilience, or you've got people who big rubber ball bouncy types and would be good on a podcast or a video, we'd love to hear from you. So that's next month. We've got next month's production underway, and the links are coming up in the chat box there if you want the links for the webinar or for anything else. And stay in touch with us. We've had a great start. There's been, I think, 66 of you on this call. We had about 100 people, just over 130 or so signing up, and we've got a big number for Friday's masterclass as well. So we're obviously meeting a need somewhere. So this is for you, and it's your network, so make the most of it and enjoy it. It's good to see you all. So if you need to jump off, we're 5 minutes over, so if you need to jump off, please jump, and we'll see you next time. If you want to stay on and have a chat, or we can presumably we can have the channel for a bit longer. It's not my channel, so if marketing, Louis, if you're there, can you give me a yes or no if we can stay on for a bit longer? Yes, good. Oh, say hi to Fluffy Hedgehog. Oh, he's here. He's not a hedgehog, he's a bear. Who said that in chat?
Oh, I did. I paid attention all those trainings then, didn't I?
He was hiding in the background. So who's that? He was shy. Okay, so tell your friends if they want to join for future events. Please pass it on. Put yourselves around social media. Put yourselves on LinkedIn, and spread the word, because we're trying to build this for you guys. And lovely to see you.